Hey guys, you're with me, Kevin, your scuba professional, and today we're here to have a quick look at the Cressi Console 1 gauge that we've got available on our site. Cressi is an Italian brand that's been in the market since scuba diving's inception. Well over 60 odd years these guys have been around, and they are renowned for making some of the best quality scuba gear on the planet. This particular Console 1 gauge is an extension of their regulator range and works really well. It's a generic gauge, meaning that it can fit on pretty much any first stage because the thread on the end section over here is standardized across the scuba diving industry. So you could use this on any first stage. We recommend, however, that you always use brand on brand. So a Cressi gauge works best on a Cressi first stage. So the Console 1 gauge itself over here just has the pressure from the cylinder itself. You see this one is rated to 300 bar, and I really like the way that they've changed the colors of the gauge as you go down. So when you're at 300 bar, it's up in blue, and when you get down to around the 200, 150, it moves to this sort of bright greeny yellowy color, and as you get closer to 50 bar, it turns to the orange, which is the indication that you are low on air and that it's time for you to time out your dive and then go to the surface. It's got quite a solid lens on the front over there, which will make it quite scratch resistant, and it's got quite a nice boot cover around the back. One of the things I really like is the little tag that they've put at the top section over there, so that'll allow you to attach any of the Velcro clips or any of the gauge clips that you want to at the side, so you can clip that up onto your BCD wherever you feel most comfortable. And some of the nice little accents that they're putting, these little dimples on the side over here, almost makes this gauge look like a cobra, a really cross cobra. If you go up and you tease, it goes whoa. Anyway, it just occurred to me when I saw that earlier during the reviews. And you've got your standard Cressi hose, high pressure hose over here. And an interesting point to note, if you have a look into the top of that hose over there, I know it's a bit difficult to see on the camera, but if you try and look at how big that hole is over there, you'll realize that it's the same size as the point of a pin. So this gauge taking up to 300 bars, you have 300 bar coming through that first stage. There's a lot of pressure running through this hose into this gauge. And because of that, majority of this hose is made up of rubber and reinforcing. So there's a very, very tiny little amount of air that's coming through the hose to push on the gauge itself, just to push it up to the bar that it's at and then breathe it down. So quite often people are a bit worried that these may pop and explode, and I've heard the whole thing, you need to turn the gauge down before you turn it up. You don't have to worry about it. These days this gear is made to such a high standard that's not going to happen. And also with the fact that this is just a tiny little pinprick of a hole which is running through here, it's only a tiny amount of air which is moving through here. So my top tip to avoid scratching the gauge itself is don't turn it down and stand on it when you're charging up the gauge. It's an old diver's myth passed down from generation to generation, and more goes to miseducation than anything else. You are quite easily able to just open up the cylinder itself and then check the gauge, see how much air you have, and everything's good, because all the gear made these days is really good quality. Any Italian made gear is really, really good. So there is the review of the Cressi Console 1 gauge. Good for any avid scuba diver that's diving with a dive computer. This can also be used on first stages for stage cylinders if you're doing tech, etc. as well. It's just a really good quality item, the Cressi Console 1. So if you guys are enjoying these product reviews, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click over there and click subscribe, or go check out all our social streams. We've got lots of them. You can go to any social platform, search for scuba.coza, and we are bound to come up. So that's it from me, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the water really soon.